Hey everybody, Brian here. We're making another movie review. Today we are reviewing the Santa Claus 2. Yesterday we reviewed the Santa Claus, Tim Allen's The Santa Claus 1. So if you guys want to watch that video, it's on the channel, go watch it. Yeah, so let's get right into it. Once again, if you guys have not seen this movie and you want to see it, spoiler alerts ahead, so if you don't want anything to be spoiled, haven't seen the movie, exit out of this video now. Otherwise, let's get right into it, everybody. So, the movie starts out with this airplane flying over, North Pole initially. And it, is flying over. They're trying to detect if there's life, any type of animals up there, or anything. And they fly over, and they start detecting something. And it's the Santa Claus is coming to town song. And then it advances to the North Pole. So Santa Claus putting on his overalls and stuff, and then he goes up to the thing wearing a general hat, and they're trying to prevent the people from finding the North Pole. Initially, what ends up happening is they end up running around the North Pole trying to find what the noise is. They go to the reindeer shack and they find that it's a new elf, new character to the series called Curtis S, and it's what do you call it? He's one of the elves, and he's playing with a toy Santa that's saying Santa Claus is coming to town. They turn it off, and well, they don't get discovered. It's good for them, happy for them. Then it pans up, shows him going around the North Pole. He's having a good time. You know, the elves really love him. He really loves the elves. It says in the trailer he's the greatest Santa there ever was. And just the movie is it starts out very good like that. It's just very happy. Well, then he goes to his office, his little, I guess, apartment slash office at the North Pole. And then he is noticing that he's losing weight. It might be like 10 pounds a month or so, but he's definitely losing weight because his clothes are starting to become baggy on him. And then that's when Bernard from the first one, and Curtis are arguing over who should tell him. They tell him about this thing about there's this other Claus, and well, it's a Mrs. Claus that he has to get married by Christmas Eve night, 12 p.m. Christmas Eve night. Otherwise, he cannot be Santa anymore. So he ends up having to leave the North Pole. Before he does this, they make a fake Santa. They clone him in this thing, and it's like a toy Santa. He's plastic to sort of fill in for him, and then he leaves to head down to the town where Charlie lives because Charlie got in trouble. Charlie got in trouble at school because at the beginning of the movie, actually, Charlie was spray painting stuff at school, getting in trouble, being a delinquent, I guess you'd say. Then he is talking to the principal, and he sides with Charlie. And they go back to the house, and Neil and Charlie's mom have had a little girl, Lucy, and calls him Uncle Scott, and he looks much like Santa Claus, and literally he tells him about how he has to find someone to marry, otherwise he can't be Santa anymore, and he literally drops like 12 pounds, like he probably drops 12, 13 pounds like that, and loses all his facial hair, and the color of his hair changes. So he's clearly getting younger again and losing weight again. Kind of like opposite of what the first one was, where he's clearly getting older and gaining weight and growing facial hair and stuff. It's opposite. He goes on a date. The girl from Superstar, or I can't remember her name, Mary Catherine Gallagher from Superstar. She plays in it, has a little cameo where he's on a date. Doesn't go well. There was apparently more dates, but they deleted the scenes. I guess they didn't see the purpose. He's trying to spend more time with Charlie. Charlie's making stuff. He goes to the school again, talks to the principal about community service because Charlie's spray painting something again. Charlie has to do community service while the principal supervises, and Scott Santa Claus ends up talking to the principal more at the community service. A little girl comes up to him and she talks really good to him, and like he's very intrigued and very interested. No, I don't know how to explain it. Like she knows he's Santa or something. And then he initially stops by the principal's house later on in the night and asks her if she wants to go out and get noodles. Uses magic to get a sleigh ride with horses. By the way, he has to if he uses up all his magic, which he's only got a little bit left, he won't be able to return to the pole. So they're at this Christmas party. It's all boring, but then he uses magic, and everyone gets toys, and there's loud music, so it becomes real fun. And then initially, it ends up becoming a magical scene where he gives her this doll that she wanted as a little girl, and it really made her think. And then he went back to the house with her, and Charlie and his friends are getting ready to snowball the house, and he comes out, and Charlie starts getting made fun of, and then Charlie and his dad argue in the end, and he had a bit before that, he tells her that he's Santa Claus. She thinks he's crazy, tells him to leave, wonders why Charlie went crazy. Well, oh, he's losing weight drastically. He's back to the normal Scott Calvin, the original Scott Calvin, I guess you'd say. And then he goes back home. He's worried and stuff. And then Curtis shows up and says, "You got to get back to the pole." Because in the meantime, while all this is happening, and the toy Santa has literally built all these toy soldiers, made them giant, and they're at the pole now. It never made sense how they became giant, but the mouse didn't. They're at the pole, and they've taken over. They're forcing the elves. Everyone's getting coal. So Curtis tells him he has to get back to the pole. He tries to, but he has no magic. Goes back out to Comet. Comet's gained a crap ton of weight. It's all sick and stuff. Can't what do you call it? Fly anymore. So they try to think of a plan. They think of the Tooth Fairy. They try a bunch of different ways of getting the tooth out, and then they end up getting pulled down a staircase. It's kind of funny. And then what ends up happening is they end up getting hurt. Lucy ends up losing a tooth. So they end up getting lucky. So as soon as the Tooth Fairy comes in, they stop him. He doesn't believe it's Scott Calvin. Oh, I forgot to mention this part. There's the Legendary Figures Council with Mother Nature, Easter Bunny, Cupid, the Tooth Fairy, Father Time, and Santa Claus. Of course, Jack Frost is introduced in in the next movie. Back to the story. He stops him. He doesn't believe it's him. Actually, it was a little political line. I know him, just like I know John Kennedy type of line. And then they end up flying to the pole. They end up getting caught. Next day comes, and Charlie goes up to the principal. Because she said you can talk to about anything to me. And he gets her to believe because he shows her the snow globe from the first movie. It shows you your favorite childhood memories of Christmas, so she ends up believing. So then they somehow contact the Tooth Fairy. They get up there, they break Scott and Curtis loose, and then he breaks all the elves loose, and they escape. They end up stopping Santa. He has to fly up with this dog, Chet, and the dog, I'm not a dog, a reindeer, and it's a first-time reindeer, it's real goofy and stuff. He goes up, he ends up knocking the sleigh out of the air and stops the toy Santa. They end up putting him in the machine. Then he ends up asking the principal to marry him, and while she ends up saying yes, they get married, they kiss. And while he becomes Santa again, instantaneously gains 180 pounds and ages about 30 years and grows a bunch of facial hair, becomes Santa again. And yeah, that's the end of the movie. Flies off. Lucy ends up finding out he's Santa Claus. And then they fly off and they yell Chet, and that's the end of the movie. This one, I'm gonna say it's a good movie. Don't get me wrong; it's a very good movie. But I did not like it nowhere nearly as much as I liked the first one or the one that comes after. So I would have to give this one maybe a 6.2 out of 10, maybe a 7 out of 10. I mean, I guess it depends on what kind of mood you're in. This is a good Christmas movie, but it's not nowhere nearly as good as the first one or the third one or the TV series, the first season. But yeah, still a good movie. I'd say, let's just give it a 6 out of 10. Let's estimate it at that. Yeah, decent movie, but not as good as the first one. And alright, everybody, that's basically it. That's it. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Please like this video, leave a comment, and please share the video. Most importantly, please subscribe to the channel. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.